Love is like a plate of barbecue ribs, you share it, you savor it, you don't let someone else grab a bite. But my wife, Emma, sees it differently. I'm Jack Thompson. This is the story of how I walked through the gate she pointed at. We moved to a quiet suburb in Austin, Texas. Houses with white picket fences, nosy neighbors. Emma wanted a barbecue to charm the block. I pictured ribs, beers, friendly waves. But she turned our backyard into a Pinterest board. Tables groaned with brisket, coleslaw, and blaring country music. I manned the grill, sweating, while Emma strutted in a tight sundress. Then I saw her with Ryan Miller, the neighbor. Jim Bro, country dancer, all biceps. Emma laughed, touched his arm, like she was testing if it was real. She accidentally dropped her beer. Ryan picked it up, and she gave him our honeymoon eyes. The whole block watched. I stood there, tongs in hand, looking like hired help. I walked over with a water bottle. "Thirsty?" I asked, keeping cool. Emma barely glanced, mumbled thanks, and turned back to Ryan. "This is my husband," she said, like pointing at a lawn chair. Ryan nodded, smirking like he'd won. I gripped the tongs. In my head, I'm grilling ribs, but Emma's grilling me in front of Austin. Follow me to see how I handled my wife making me the neighborhood joke. Subscribe now. The smell of burnt ribs snapped me out of my daze. The grill flames hissed, as angry as I was. I fumbled and dropped a rib on the ground. Across the yard, Emma was glued to Ryan. She was like a moth to his flame. Her laugh sliced through the air, sharp as a knife. Ryan was yapping about winning a line dancing contest in Dallas. "Just winged it," he said, voice smooth like a radio host. Emma tilted her head, eyes sparkling. "No way. You danced that good on the fly?" she said, sweet as pecan pie. Then she squeezed his bicep, like checking a melon at the store. Ryan grinned, flashing perfect teeth. I turned back to the grill, pretending to be busy. But my eyes stayed locked on them. Emma was now talking, waving her hands like a pageant queen. "Ryan, you gotta try my cornbread. My grandma's recipe, straight from Houston." She picked up a piece, fed it to him. He ate slowly, staring into her eyes. "Amazing, Emma. You're a chef," he said, voice dripping charm. The whole block was hooked on their show. Mrs. Linda, the neighbor, whispered to her husband, glancing at us. A buddy of Ryan slapped his back. "Watch out, man, Emma's gonna melt those muscles." Emma laughed, tossing her hair back, like in a rom-com. I gripped the tongs, picturing snapping them like a superhero. But I just stacked ribs, trying not to shake. I walked over with a fresh plate. "Emma, try these jalapeno poppers." "My specialty," I said, faking a grin. She glanced at the plate, then at me, like I'd crashed her party. "Sure, leave 'em there," she said, flat, and went back to Ryan, rambling about a bar in San Antonio. Ryan nodded, like it was the best story ever. I stood there, plate in hand, feeling like a nobody in my own yard. "Gonna check the cooler," I muttered, though no one cared. I heard Emma laugh louder, like my exit was her cue to turn it up. Ryan said, "You should hit my dance class, Emma. You'd light up the floor." "Light up?" I wanted to chuck the beer keg at his head. But I poured a drink, took a sip. It was flat. My fault, mixed it mad. Back at the grill, I couldn't tune them out. Emma sat next to Ryan on a bench, legs crossed, dress riding up a bit. He whispered something, she giggled, touching his shoulder again. Linda and her husband murmured, shooting me pity looks. I tried jumping in again. "Hey, Ryan, you dance so well, you teach grilling ribs? Or just eat 'em?" I joked. Ryan laughed, "That I'm better than you laugh. Jack, I leave grilling to pros like you. I handle. Entertaining." Emma clapped, like he'd won an Oscar. I turned away, fuming. A kid ran by. "Mister, your ribs are burning," he yelled. "Thanks, kid," I thought. My whole life's burning. Emma was teaching Ryan how to sip beer Texas style, her hand on his. I gripped the tongs, feeling like the clown of my own circus. This wasn't a barbecue. It was a dare. And I wasn't gonna stay the full at the grill. The grill fire was dying, but mine wasn't. I stared at Emma and Ryan, the stars of a show I wasn't cast in. Her laugh, her touches, the way she leaned into him like he was a trophy. I wanted to yell, "This is my damn yard." But I took a breath, wiped my hands on my apron, and walked over. Time to shut down this circus. "Emma," I said, voice steady but low. She turned, eyes narrowed, like I'd ruined her spotlight. Ryan looked at me, smirking like a shark. "What's up, Jack?" she asked, with a hint of annoyance. "I need to talk." 1 minute. Over there. I pointed to a corner of the yard, away from the lights and gossip. Emma sighed, like I'd asked her to climb a mountain. God, Jack, can't you say it here? She said, crossing her arms, her dress glinting under the string lights. Ryan stood there, like her bodyguard, still smirking. I looked at her, then him, then her again. Because I want to talk to my wife, I said, hitting wife like a punch. She rolled her eyes but followed, not before glancing at Ryan like saying be right back. We stopped by the fence, smelling cedar from next door. I looked her dead in the eyes. What are you doing, Emma? The whole block's watching. Think I'm blind? She crossed her arms, scowling. Doing what? Nothing. Just chatting with a neighbor. You're jealous again, aren't you? I laughed, not from humor, but her nerve. Chatting? You're practically on his lap. Your hands are glued to his arms like magnets. Emma let out a sharp laugh. Listen to yourself, Jack. It's a party. I'm being friendly, so we don't look like the weird couple on the block. You want me to sit like your grandma? I stepped closer, voice low but cutting. I want you to act like my wife, not a dance partner for hire. She froze, eyes wide, then snapped. What did you call me? A dance partner? The air got thick. I heard whispers from the crowd. Linda was probably taking notes. Lower your voice, I said, trying to keep it together. But Emma didn't. She pointed at the yard gate, shouting, if you can't handle me being normal, there's the gate. Go. The yard went silent. The country music played on, but no one spoke. Ryan, holding his beer, watched like it was a movie. Linda gasped, hand on her chest. I looked at the wooden gate Emma pointed at. For a second, I thought about going back to the grill, pretending nothing happened. She expected that. For me to swallow the insult, like always, for family peace. But I saw Ryan smirk, Linda's pity, and Emma, defiant, like she'd won. Not today. Fine, I said, calm, surprising myself. I yanked off my apron, tossed it on the table, and walked to the gate. Thanks for showing me the way. I'm off to see Austin. Emma's jaw dropped, speechless. I heard murmurs, he's really going. I didn't look back. I opened the gate, stepped onto the driveway, and heard Emma yell, Jack, you joking? Come back. But the gate slammed shut, and my truck's engine drowned her out. Austin streets glowed under neon signs. I drove aimlessly, leaving the barbecue and Emma's mocking eyes behind. The steering wheel was cool, but my head burned like the grill. I turned off the radio. Country tunes didn't help. Silence was a better friend. I pulled into a dive bar, the Longhorn, its sign flickering. I ordered a whiskey, sat in a corner. The bartender polished glasses like he was in a contest. Late night cruising, buddy? He said, with a thick Texas drawl. I shrugged. Wife showed me the gate. Took a drive, he laughed, flashing a gold tooth. Women are like ribs. Pick the wrong one, you ruin your night. I sipped whiskey, bitter as my thoughts. 5 years of marriage flashed by. Times Emma flirted at work parties. Nights she came home late from old friends. Looks she gave others, that I pretended not to see. I thought it was her personality. Now I know it was choices. She chose to make me invisible, picked Ryan's shine over respect for me. A drunk guy sat nearby. Fought with your wife, huh? It's written on your face, he slurred. I nodded, not up for arguing. Listen, Texas gals are fire. Be water, say sorry. Done. I looked at him, smirked. If fire burns your house, you say sorry? He shut up, went back to his drink. I paid and left, free from dumb advice. In the truck, I cruised Austin. Past Zilker Park, where couples hugged under streetlights. I didn't feel jealous. I felt sorry for myself, for thinking I could fix a marriage by staying quiet. My phone buzzed non-stop. Probably Emma, or Linda with gossip. I didn't check. I knew her script, you overreacted, Jack. It was just a party. No, Emma. It was a war. I parked by Lady Bird Lake. City lights danced on the water. There, I felt freedom. Not the kind with beers and hookups. The kind where you drop an invisible chain. I laughed, picturing Emma stunned as I walked out. Nobody expected it. And that gave me strength to keep going. No going back. No apologies. Just forward. I got back when the yard lights were off. Only cold brisket and empty cans remained. The gate creaked as I walked through, like it knew I'd done the unthinkable. In the kitchen, Emma sat at her laptop, hair in a messy bun, looking like she'd run through hell. She was Googling how to save a marriage after a fight. She highlighted lines like a frantic student. Still. Got energy to Google after your Ryan show? I said, sarcastic. She jumped, slammed the laptop shut like hiding a secret. You're back? Thought you were gone for good, she said, faking calm. I sat across from her, slow, like a hunter. I'm back. But not to hear why you danced with the neighbor in front of everyone. Emma huffed, ready to defend. God, Jack, aren't you tired? It was a party. I was being nice, fitting in. And you? You stormed off like a kid, leaving me to clean up your mess. I laughed, not amused, but at her nerve. Mess? You call making me a clown in front of Austin a mess? Or your love affair with Ryan's biceps? She stood, hands on the table. Don't talk to me like that. I didn't do anything wrong. I chatted, laughed, like a normal person. You think I slept with him? I leaned in, staring hard. No, Emma. You don't need to sleep with him to make me feel like trash. Your eyes, your touches, and pointing me to the gate did that. Emma stepped back, lips tight. Then she switched tactics. She left and came back in a sheer nightgown, hair down, eyes glossy. Jack, okay, I went too far. But you did too. Let's talk like adults, alright? She touched my shoulder, voice sugary. I pushed her hand off, stood up. Sorry, Emma. I'm not buying this act. You think a nightgown erases the gate you pointed at? She grabbed the laptop, pointed at the screen. Look. I found therapists. I want to fix this. I opened it. Read, How to Handle a Jealous Husband. Nice, Emma. Instead of apologizing, you're proving I'm crazy. She slammed it shut, furious. You twist everything. I'm trying to save our marriage. I stepped closer, voice eyes. You're not saving anything. You want me to shut up, let you play queen without complaints. Emma sat, covering her face. No tears, just calculation. What do you want? Me to beg? She asked, sharp. I shook my head. I want you to be my wife, not Ryan's cheerleader. But you picked another role. I turned away. She yelled, You're not fair. But I knew she'd call her family, painting me as the bad guy. I was ready. Next morning, I was in the garage, polishing a wrench that already shone. Just wanted to avoid thinking about Emma. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello? I said, flat. Jack, it's Mike, my brother-in-law said, sounding wise. Mike, married to Emma's sister, loves bad insurance jokes. Emma called my wife. She's crying, says you flipped out over jealousy. I set the wrench down, chuckling. Jealousy? Did she tell you she stuck to Ryan like glue? Or kicked me out of my yard? Mike cleared his throat, trapped. She said she was just chatting. You know Emma, she's friendly. I cut him off. Mike, if your wife danced with the neighbor, touching his arm in front of everyone, and told you to leave, what did you do? Crack a joke? Silence. Mike swallowed hard. Just trying to help, he mumbled. Help by staying out, I said, hanging up. 10 minutes later, another call. Emma's dad, Frank, voice like thunder. What the hell you doing to my daughter? I leaned against the wall. Your daughter pointed me to the gate after flirting with the neighbor like I wasn't there. What do I do? Thank her? He growled. Emma's outgoing, you know that. A man's gotta be big about it, I laughed. Big doesn't mean letting your wife make you a fool. If you want her happy, tell her to respect her husband. Frank switched to threats. You're tearing up a family. Think hard, Jack. I paused. Maybe I married the wrong woman. One who thinks marriage is her stage. Silence. He hung up. I went back to the wrench, feeling like I'd punched the air. Emma called in the family firefighters, but I wasn't a blaze to put out. 3 days later, I was at the office, sorting pointless emails. My assistant buzzed. Your wife's here. Says it's urgent, I sighed. I knew urgent. Sent her in. Emma walked in, a mess, hair tangled, shirt wrinkled, eyes shadowed. She sat, clutching her purse like a shield. We need to talk, she said, voice shaky. We talked, I said, typing without looking. You said I need therapy for not liking your gate stunt. She took a breath, steadying herself. I know I messed up. I was too friendly with Ryan. But don't throw away our marriage over one night. I stopped typing, looked at her. Too friendly? You call clinging to him, giggling like a teen, and kicking me out too friendly? You didn't break our marriage in one night, Emma. You did it slowly, with every look, every touch, every time you chose someone else over me. She bit her lip, eyes wet. I don't want to lose you. I can change. No more Ryan. No parties. Give me a chance. I leaned back, arms crossed. You don't want me, Emma. You want the husband who stays quiet while you dance with someone else. You're not sorry for hurting me. You're sorry I stopped taking it. She shook her head, crying. I love you. Love? I asked, cold. Love is introducing me like furniture. Love is calling your family to make me the crazy one. Love is pointing to the gate, thinking I'd crawl back. I stood, looked out the window. I'm filing for divorce. Fight it if you want, won't change a thing, she sobbed. You're really doing this? I nodded. I did it when I walked through your gate. 2 weeks later, an envelope arrived at my brother's place. Divorce papers, signed by Emma. Her signature was neat, no note, no drama. Just her name, like a period. I didn't crack a beer or celebrate. I sat, holding the papers, feeling relief, not victory. I moved out of the neighborhood. I swing by sometimes for stuff. Ryan avoids me like I'm the IRS. He ducks into his garage, scared I'll chuck ribs at him. Maybe something happened with Emma. Maybe not. I don't care. She broke our deal long before Ryan. Not with her body. With her eyes, making me a spectator in my own life. Friends ask, why'd you split? You seemed solid. I say, she pointed to the gate. I walked through. They don't get it, but I don't need them to. Marriage isn't a barbecue plate to share with the block. It's a promise. Without respect, it's nothing. Emma thought I'd stay, swallow the insult. She was wrong. I'm not the husband waiting by the grill. Now I live light. Not because I left Emma, but because I found myself. A man worth more than leftover ribs. She can say what she wants. I was jealous, I ditched her. I don't fix her story. I've got mine. And it ends like this. She pointed to the gate as a joke. I walked through as a statement. I never looked back. What would you do if someone pointed you to the gate? Drop it in the comments and subscribe for more wild stories.